Morning! Today's the day. Today is service day. This transit is crippling me financially. So fluids wise, it takes 9 litres of oil, of engine oil, 13 litres of transmission fluid. So yesterday I spent £143 just on oil. Jesus Christ. Ronnie, the truck, takes 17 litres. I thought that was bad, but that is a lorry, not a transit van. Anyway, that's got a V8 in it. Take the rough with the smooth. I'm not going to mess around with all the fancy like driving out of the unit and all that, because it's absolutely chucking it down. Once Reggie's on the ramp, I'll come back to you and we'll start pulling some fluid out. Obviously I need to get it nice and hot to get as much oil out of it as possible, but I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to tell a story to see what the colour of the oil is, what the transmission fluid looks like. I think it's just going to be dust. One thing I've got to tell you, because people don't seem to know this. So firstly, I've been an idiot. I've been uploading all my videos, despite the fact I filmed them in 4K, I've been uploading all of my footage in 480p, which is why some of my older videos that have done really well, to be fair, look like they were filmed on a potato. So I'm sorry about that. But everything from now, if you just tap the screen and you'll see the little cog icon, tap on that and it will give you the option to change the settings so that you can watch it in 4K, 1080p, whatever your Wi-Fi or your data can handle, watch it in that. So, and I massively apologise for how crap it looks for the first few episodes. I've learned now and it won't happen again.
So it looks right.
Very posh.
Here's our dipstick.
Our £69 dipstick. Time to see how much oil and what condition the oil's in. So I've got my dipstick all the way from Flying Spares. Right, moment of truth. So the dipstick I bought doesn't go down the dipstick tube, which makes me think there's either an old dipstick snapped off and stuck in there, or it's the wrong one, but it's definitely for this engine. I just gave the dipstick tube a bit of a pull and some oil just sort of started dripping out, and it looks immaculate. It looks really clean. The only problem is I don't know how much is in there. And as you can see, we have got a bit of a leak, so I can't really trust anything. I mean, look at that oil filter there. When do you reckon the last time that oil filter was changed? It's got nothing left on it. And it's rusty, like Jesus Christ, man. Look at that. So that's the bottom of our gearbox. That's the sump I've got to take off in a minute. I think before I do anything, it needs cleaning. Everything needs cleaning. I've noticed someone makes you a cup of tea, but they don't know how you take it. Whoever built this, look at the sump. I was just cleaning it then and I was like, that's a weird shape. That's a weird weld. But yeah, so that sump has been modified for this front axle. So that makes it even more difficult to know how much oil to put in it. How much oil do you put in? If you can't use a dipstick. Well, let's just get this oil out. Well, that was not a lot of oil, was it? You have been abused. I know this is going to sound weird, but I've got gloves on and I want to feel that oil. I'm not some sort of weirdo, but I want to know what it feels like. Oh my god. Sticky. God, that is old. Old as balls. balls. Old as big, hairy, saggy balls. So another thing I've just noticed, and another thing. Look at the sump from here. You see how it's like concave? So the sump nut, or the sump hole, is higher than these low points. So you imagine all the shite that is going to be sat in here. So ultimately the sump's going to need to come off. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'll treat this servicing that I'm doing now as like a flushing service. So I'm just going to put all this oil in, work out our oil levels. I've got about 850 million gallons. In fact, I've got an oil tanker delivering all the oil that I bought. I use this as a flushing service, but the next service I do, I'll probably change that. I'll pull the sump off, but the problem is I haven't got a sump gasket, and you can bet your ass the sump gasket will be not very good. Stinks of fuel, that. So it's obviously been massively over fueling for ages, and the oil is full of fuel. Fuck you, suspected spam. See, this is what annoys me, right? Everyone who's owned this, loads of people have owned it, and a lot of them have been in contact with me. Everyone's just so interested in what it looks like and what a beast it is. This poor old engine, its unique selling point of this vehicle is this engine. And I've just taken that oil out, and it's like, I wouldn't put that in my lawnmower. Seriously, like, my lawnmower has clean oil. So I've taken my gloves off to handle this oil filter, because I'm hoping that they'll take it back if it's the wrong one. It should be the right one. So there's the old one, there's the new one with our Bentley logo. It's a little bit bigger, and it's not rusty.
Maybe it's a new beginning. Maybe it's the start of where
tight.
it ends. I know. It comes down to all or nothing. This time it's for real, we can't pretend.
I do not like this oil that's in there. Now I can touch the oil strainer, and it's got sludge on it, and that oil filter's just dripped on me.
In your eyes, I see a fire lighting up as we're getting away. There's no going back, and I'm loving
Click.
where you go. I fall.
So what I've decided to do is, the stock engine takes 9 litres of oil. I'm guessing that what came out of it was about 5, but I'm going to measure that. So with this bit that's been cut out, I've worked out that that's about 1 litre, so give or take it's about 1 litre. So what we're going to go for, what I'm going to do, we'll go for about 7.5 litres, and then we'll work out how I can check the oil. I'll make some sort of dipstick. So let's get some oil in it. Engine is done. Time to get on with the gearbox. So what are they? Put my bucket back. Well, that wasn't very tight either. Ready? Okay, so colour's not too bad. See if I can do it without getting absolutely covered.
another day to lose control. There's a fire in my bones. My sight gets blurry, pushing back the tears. Should take a leap of faith and face my fear. I blame it on the voices that are in my head, wondering if they'll ever be put to bed. Feels like I am close to reaching my wit's end, holding out, but I'm about to blow it up like a volcano.
You know what? It doesn't look too bad.
Blow it up like a volcano. What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you're setting free? What you do, what you do, what you do to me? Can't you see what it means when you're setting free?
Oh, hydraulic fluid in my hair.
So there's the old one. Here's our nice shiny new one. Also got a nice new gasket. So this is the old cork gasket. You can pretty much tell from that this is the original from the manufacturer. Well, obviously it could have been changed and replaced for a cork one, but you can't even buy the cork ones now. So let's see if we can get this off in a wanna. Oh, look at that. Nice one. Some things surprise you. So let's have a little look in the sump. The oil didn't look too bad, but we've got quite a lot of filings in there. So that's all, in fact it's quite gritty as well. Let's have a little look around. No big nasty chunks, no big surprises. This is boring. I'll show you when it's done. The sump, I've cleaned it all up, sanded it all down. It's now got its first layer of primer on it. So that's kind of set me back now. Never understood why companies put little bags of sweets to say thank you. However, right now, I've not eaten anything. Thank you very much. We can't do anything else because I'm waiting for the sump to dry. So I've put the sump in my van. I'm going to take it home. I'll layer up some layers of paint on it tonight. Come down first thing, sump back on, oil in, good to go. Really productive day today. Just a bit stuck with time. I don't have enough time to prime, sand the sump. I didn't realise it was going to be in such bad condition. We're doing this right though, aren't we? Got the cover off the engine now, as you can't see. Let's turn some lights on the subject. Oh, we're getting there. To be continued. See you tomorrow. Day 2 today is Saturday. The sump, whacked a load of primer on that because it was rusty. I wasn't expecting that, so sanded that all back, cleaned it up, steam cleaned it first, sanded it back, took it home, put on 3 layers of paint. So I thought I'd do a quick big reveal, like what colour do you think? Should I have done it silver? Should I have done it black? Well, do you know what? It's my train set and I decide how I play with it. So you ready for the big reveal? 3, 2, 1. What do you think of that? So there's our sump. Put like 3 layers of paint on it. It's looking a lot better. Obviously it's not perfect. Do you know what? It's a 34-year-old sump. It's a little bit battered and bruised, but it's got no rust on it now. There's the inside look. You could literally eat your dinner off that. In fact, I ate my kebab off it last night. But yeah, looking good. So, today's plan, wipe this gasket on it, get the gasket on, fit the sump, and then I've got to start trying to fill it up with oil. Now, I think that's going to be a bit of a ball ache because I'm going to have to fill it through the dipstick tube. But I'll work something out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's get the sump on first. Let's get this thing fired up and moving, and driving. Let's go for a fucking drive. I've just put a couple of beads of silicone on the sump just to hold the gasket in place. Wait for that to set for a couple of minutes. So I'm just cleaning up the sump nuts. Now that we've got a nice shiny sump, don't want it to be let down by the sump nuts. So this little tang, I'd imagine that's obviously left over from when it was on the Rolls Royce. But that just goes to show how little servicing this thing has had. So when these were fitted to the Rolls Royce, this TH400 gearbox and the engine have both got a 6,000 mile service interval. So every 6,000 miles, bearing in mind there's no sump nut on these sumps, but every 6,000 miles you had to do this. So I imagine ownership of a Rolls Royce Corniche or a Silver Shadow or whatever in the 80s and 90s was quite expensive. I suppose if you were driving around in one then, you probably had a fair bit of money, didn't you? Or you're a drug dealer or like run a cartel or something. But none of them had a transit, did they? Well actually, so the transits, because the Mark II and Mark III transits were like the weapon of choice for bank robbers, weren't they, in the 80s? I wouldn't be surprised if somebody at some point put a V8 in one just so they could get away from the police. Oh, it's interesting stuff to think about while you're cleaning your nuts. I could really do with another pair of Vans here, but I haven't got any, so got no fans.
I live down the road from Buddy's barroom. I got a running tab, it's done run away. Sometimes I think I'm whistling past the graveyard. Last night I got so drunk.
Before any of you panic, I have got this on the lowest torque setting it will go on. I'm not chewing away.
Playing. And the jukebox is the best there is in town. Take you free at happy.
Whatever happens, somebody remind me to fit the new seal on that fill pipe, because I will forget.
We say Jesus ain't an easy man to talk to. Heaven never sounded all that night. Got you feel a little better singing, drinking songs together. A little 16 bars of paradise.
We are cooking on gas, guys. Cooking on gas. Oh, talking of cooking, I could murder a bacon sandwich. I should have been a cricketer, or I should just learn to stop dropping shit.
Mickey looks so tired it might fall over, but he heads straight for the jukebox and he orders him a beer. But his home's a wreck, been bouncing checks.
Right, let's torque these up now in the proper sequence. Ta-da! I remembered, guys. Don't panic. The last thing I want to do is cross-thread that. My tools are dirty now. That feels nice. Job. I'm really chuffed with that. Do you know what? It's looking a lot better, isn't it? And that's the start of things to come. So we've got loads to do, front to back. It's now time to try and get some oil in this bloody thing, and then hopefully take it for a little spin. But looking a lot better. I'm really chuffed with how it's coming together. So the nightmare I'm having, right, is the internet. all of the information in the world, but there's just too much information. So if it's got one type of torque converter, it takes 9 quarts. If it's got another type of torque converter, it takes 10.5 quarts. I don't friggin' know. You don't know, you have to test it warm as well. So I've obviously got to put some in there, take it for a drive, and then like dip the levels again. So I've bought like 800,000 litres, because 9 quarts is about 13 litres. So I've got like all of the transmission fluid. Bearing in mind, I pulled 3 litres out of this. 3.5 litres of transmission fluid came out of this gearbox. So well done to all of you who own this before me. So I'm now just gonna probably put 5 litres in, see where it is on the dipstick, and just take it from there really. But even if it's got 5 litres in, even if that's not enough, it's still 1.5 litres more than it had before. So I hate the smell of transmission fluid. You don't want to watch all this. I'll save the battery. Recap then, I drained out, engine oil wise, it should have 9 litres on a standard sump. I drained out of it 4.5 litres of engine oil. Gearbox is supposed to take 9 quarts. That equates to about 13 litres, I think. I've topped that up and it's now sitting right at the max mark on the dipstick. But I drained out of the gearbox 3.5 litres. This thing has just been absolutely abused, but it's not happening anymore. A nice shiny sump, look at that sitting there, you can see it really clearly there. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? There's going to be loads more of that. I know what you're going to say, why are you not driving it? I've just driven it out of the unit where the ramps are. This thing has got a leak on the left-hand header, and currently I have no cover on the engine. Sitting in here with the engine running is making my eyes water. It is absolutely pumping fumes straight into the cabin. So the priority now is going to be get that header off. Running it for like 5 minutes there, it got really hot, super hot. So the radiator is terrible. The radiator needs working on. But as it stands at the minute, it is ready to drive. I might just need a gas mask or breathing apparatus to drive it. If you haven't already, watch some of the older stuff. Recap, I've put them all in a playlist, so they should automatically just play one after the other. But yeah, thanks very much. I love having you here. I love doing these videos. It takes me bloody ages to do anything on it because I'm constantly setting up a camera and stuff, but do you know what? It's worth it. I love reading your comments. I love replying to your comments, and I just love having you along. So let's make the V8 great again.